All right, so let's get into it. I'll keep the poll up for a couple minutes so you guys can just continue to vote on that. Like I said last time, so I do have Stephen joining me. I'm sure most of you have either talked to me or Stephen before, via chat, email, or phone. But if not, my name is Amal, and I am the Customer Success Manager here at Workhub. And I just want to give a huge thank you to all of you who attended our last webinar on behavior observations. That's the first webinar I've ever done, but we got so much positive feedback from all of you, and all of you wanted to see this topic, so I'm super excited about it. And we love hearing your feedback and just taking it to our software, because we love just constantly evolving and bettering our software and our features to support you. So thank you guys for your support. If you guys do have any feedback on this webinar or anything like that, drop us a chat, give us a phone call, connect with us on LinkedIn. We would love to hear it. Okay, and now I'm trying to find my Zoom. Okay, there we go. Let me share the screen with you. All right, so thank you guys for joining us. So today we're just going to cover a couple of topics I have here. How can you use our location access screening tool to create a screening questionnaire? What is worker ID? How do you use worker ID to check into a site safely? How visitors can also use the location access tool. So, like I think some of you were saying, you have sometimes subcontractors coming to site. So how you can have them also participate in the screening protocols that you have set up, how these, especially even if you have people like dropping off FedEx packages or anything like that, if they've been in your workplace, you might want to know that information, and then how you can use our tool just for tracing purposes. So we're going to get into all of that. So let's start with the admin dashboard here. So there is something, just in case you guys are a little bit confused, previously we were calling this tool Worksite Screening and Worksite Access, but we have renamed it to Location Access and Screening, partially because it's found in the Location tab, but even here, like at Workhub, when we were all talking about it, we were getting a little bit confused, so we thought that this would kind of, clarify things and make it a little bit better. So the first thing I'm going to show you is just the permissions, because there is something to note here. We're going to look, so I'm pulling up the position screen and clicking on the permissions tab here. And we are going to look in terms of the employee portal permission overview. If you just scroll down here, you'll see we have the locations worker manifest permission. Basically, this permission allows from the worker side, workers to view a log of people who are on site, as well as the ability to check in and check out other workers. So that's kind of important. Previously, I think it was called Gatekeeper Permission. And really, it's, in case you have somebody who is, kind of standing at the door or standing in front of the office or something and tracking all these people who are coming into your site and joining your site. If you need those people tracked or whatever, you might have somebody who is not an admin or does not need any sort of admin permissions in Workhub, but is monitoring this at your location. And so that's why we've included the worker manifest permission. So that will be found on the employee side. So that's something that workers can do from their own portal. And then we have the locations worksite screening. So obviously that is just for the workers to be able to submit their own questionnaires, complete the access screening form, and check themselves in and out of site. And then on the admin side, we just have the one, which is for worksite screening, and that's for admins to create the questionnaire, assign it, push it out, and track all of the workers and access their visitor log. So that's the permission. So now when we get into it, we're going to click on locations, because this is where you're going to find the tool. The great thing is we've included this little button here, which kind of shows you if the worksite screening is active or inactive. So as you can see here, we have it active for head and office locations, but not for yard. So we're going to go take a look at the yard location. Now, we click on the Access Screening tab, and some of you may land on this screen where you can see that it is disabled. So it's really simple. If you just click over to enable it, it opens up the screening tool and all of the settings that you have on this page. So just going to go over the settings. The first one here that pops up is the auto checkout. You have options here of 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. This is really convenient because I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I can be a little bit forgetful. And so I may have checked in on my phone to the site and I'm leaving and I totally forget that I have to check out. And so this is really good just as a fail-safe almost, or like a backup plan, or whatever you want to call it, so that your workers you can ensure that your workers are kind of being checked out. It really just helps to ensure that if you're checking overlap in terms of workers' shifts, like whether certain workers are there at the time of other workers, it'll just make sure that that data is not kind of corrupted. So I mean, I think a lot of people have been using this setting, but personally, I think it's really convenient for someone like me. And then on the right here, you'll see a couple additional settings that have shown up. So first, we have the screening frequency. We've added in an extra option here than we had before to say always. So previously, we had it daily. Daily kind of indicates like within 24 hours. But this was not always working because there were cases where workers, might work a evening shift the first day and a morning shift the next day. And so it hasn't exactly been a full day since they've checked in. And so, but, sometimes you have workers working overnight. And so to fix that, we added the always option. So that just ensures that once a worker is checked out, if they log back in, and they want to check in, then they will be required to complete the questionnaire again. So just to clarify, the previous issue was that, but previously a lot of you mentioned through your feedback that what was happening was, the workers would go to check in again and it hadn't been 24 hours since their first check-in and they weren't being prompted to do a questionnaire. So we definitely recommend putting it on the always setting if you need them to do that questionnaire. But this very much depends on your workplace regulations. Some people find that they only need to complete the questionnaire a week or 2 weeks, depending on the protocols that they have in place at their work site. So, we've just given you guys all of the options that you may need here. The second thing to note here is the denied email notification. So if somebody completes the access form and they get denied, who do you want to be notified by email? Usually this would be somebody on your safety team, on your emergency team, anybody who really needs to know that there is a reason that somebody within your company may have COVID or, cannot enter the worksite for a specific reason. So you can actually check here to see if their emails are verified, and you can just continue. You have the search functionality. It's great. And then we also have the access denied message. If you just click on this link, it actually allows you to type in. So I'm just going to type in stay home and do not come in contact with. Again, depending on the questions that you have, you may want to give a different message here, but sometimes you just want them to contact the employer to discuss the situation or to go home and not interact with anybody at your workplace or, whatever the case is. Now, the other thing to note here, and this is a super new feature that we're kind of excited about here, is the external access. So if you toggle this allow external access on, you'll see a couple more settings pop up here. So one is the custom text on external access form. So sorry, just to rewind. I'm talking too quickly. The external access basically will allow other people who are joining your worksite to access the form. So it doesn't necessarily have to be only on Workhub. It means, as you can see, we have the copy link and QR code. So you'll have a specific link to the to the access screening form, as well as a QR code, which you can put on a poster or put on, any signage that you have in front of your office denoting your COVID protocols, or, whatever the case is. The great thing about this is if you click QR code, it actually just appears here, and you can drag this off. And if you put it on your desktop, it will just save as an image, which is awesome because you can copy that to any document that you have. And this is really convenient. I will show you guys the ability to use this with Worker ID in a few minutes here. But personally, I think this is great. Like I said, when I went to a couple of restaurants in Jasper, they just had the QR code, and it's really efficient for keeping it contactless, and ensuring that people are able to do that really easily. Like almost everybody has a smartphone nowadays. So I think that's a great feature. And then we have the copy link, which obviously if you just click copy, it will copy it to your clipboard, and you can put that up somewhere else too. So maybe you want to send that out in a bulletin so everybody has a link. Maybe you want to post on your website, whatever the protocols are in your office, and the easiest way to do so for you. So we've given you guys a couple options there. So going back to the second setting here, custom text on external access form, basically just gives you an introduction message and adds a disclaimer. So you can, again, just click on these and just type here, only enter if entry is granted. So very simple, easy to use for sure. So once that's done, you might want to just play with the settings and stuff. Once you have everything set and ready to go, you'll want to begin building your access form. So in this case, I have a couple put in here, but I'm going to show you. So if you hit import copy, we actually have 3 templates in here for you to use. The great thing about these is if I click view, is you can see them by section and by question, and you can choose which ones you wish to add or not. So you could, if you just want to have this question, it will import this section automatically for you, but you can pick and choose which questions you exactly want to have. So that's one thing that's really great. The other thing to note here is if you hit import copy again, you can actually copy from another location. So in this case, because we do have some questions set up at shop or head office, we can actually just copy those questions over to this location too. But you can always customize them as well. So let me show you. If I click view on head office, for example, and I just want to add, have you had a cough? Have you traveled? Have you been in 6 feet? And temperature consent, essentially. I can just click import selected here. And the one thing to note is that there are various settings here, and it will show you how these are set. While you can't change them on this screen, but you will be able to change them once imported. So we're going to import. And as you can see, like those appear here with those settings, and now we can toggle. So this toggle here, okay, there's a couple things to note here. So one is that you have different sections, but you can move the sections just by kind of clicking on it. So you can move different screening questions around here, move them to different hazards, and you can also delete. Now, keep in mind, you won't be able to delete a section until the screening questions within it are deleted. But if we delete the screening questions, you can see you have the ability to delete the section. So we're going to delete that. Now, the other thing here is that while these specific answers will grant access, and specific answers will allow you to deny, but you can change these. So you can say anything you want here. So have some of these are no, some of these are yes, but you can change these to say anything that you need. And you can also click here to allow comments. This will allow the worker to have comments. Let me see. I'm just trying to think of a good one to change. You can just add like no. There is like a character limit, obviously, because we have this displayed in certain buttons, like I will show you, especially to have it mobile friendly. But you do have the option of adding most words here, and you can do comments and all of that. So once that's done, you can also, if you want to go freehand, you can add your own section and your own screening questions here and just type those in easily. But now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and save this access screening. Now, the second thing, okay, we're going to switch to the worker side and see the form that we just built. So if we switch to worker and click on the check-in button here, you'll see that the access screening form comes up. So now, because this worker specifically has those the worker manifest settings that I was talking about, you can see the worker manifest tab here is available and they can click on it. But that being said, they also have the ability to check in a visitor or check in a delivery or pickup, which is great. So they can choose any of these. You'll see for visitor, delivery, pickup, the company name is not populated, so you can change that just, for your own records. But let's say we're going to use a worker. Now, again, we have two options here. We can either scan the worker ID. I am on a computer, so I can't show you guys exactly how to do this, but this would just allow you to use your camera to scan the QR code, and that would populate the worker's information in that section. And then the other option is use my data. So that just pulls it from your own Workhub account. This is assuming that you're logged into your own Workhub account. But otherwise, like they could add like a different worker here, and kind of we can actually put Mary and complete this screening form for Mary because this worker has the worker manifest permissions. So we're going to go ahead and just begin filling out this questionnaire. So as you can see, I mentioned those little buttons here. So like these are super convenient, I think, and easy for workers to do, especially on their phone when they're just kind of touching. So let's say we go like no for these. I'm going to say yes for these. I'm just going to hit no. For all of these, do you have a temperature? Provide your current temperature. Let's say my temperature is 37.5. I think that's accurate. Okay, and then the worker would just hit submit here. And yeah, so that's it. The worker just hit submit, and let's try it this way. That's exactly it. So it's very simple on their end. Then they would just get a message saying whether they'd been granted or denied. Now, I think the issue here is that Mo Finch has actually been entered. If I click on Worker Manifest, I can see here kind of like who has been on site and who hasn't. So you can actually click like workers and hit search, or all maybe. And it will kind of show you who is currently checked in. So we have Mo Finch, who, entered June 15th. So let's just go ahead and sign him out. And then you'll see that there are no workers appearing here. Let's try this one more time. You can also scan a worker ID. And so that will allow you to see like when to track certain workers and to search them. So that's very convenient as well. Now, the other way to check into site, if you click worker ID on the top right corner, not sure if many of you guys have played around with this feature before or not, but you can actually send a link to your phone, which is great. It just sends it to the phone number on your address. You just get a text message with the link, which is very convenient to open it on your phone. But you can also just open it on the current device. So when you click to open it, it will at first ask you to sign in. But I've already signed in. So in case you guys have not seen this screen before, This also works as a PWA, and the great part about sending that link to your phone and opening it on your phone is it will actually prompt you if you want to save that to your home screen on your phone. And by doing so, you can basically just open it like an app. It works like an app. And the great thing about this is it does have some offline functionality too. So, if a worker ever needs their certificates when they're going to site, if they're and they only have their phone on them, this is a super convenient way to have that right there. So if you guys haven't seen this, I'm going to show you really quickly some of the things that Worker ID has to offer. If you click enlarge here on the QR code, this brings up that worker data. So, previously on the screen where it was saying scan Worker ID, you can just scan the QR code right here and that will bring that up, as well as it shows you like Mo's information and his contact information, which is really great. Now, the compliance abstract, if you click on it. So the great thing is this will actually show you a combination of what the worker is, what is assigned to the worker and what the worker is compliant in. So you can toggle this show all compliant only, and it will show you, what a worker might be missing. So there are cases where sometimes you guys have asked us, if a worker has signed into a specific, if a worker has a specific orientation required for them, but it's not complete, they're not supposed to be able to be on site. And so this will basically just allow you to see, to ensure that there is nothing assigned to them that is required for them to be on site. But we can switch to compliant only, and it will just show you like the dates of their compliance. And actually, the really great thing about this feature is if you click on certificates, it will actually show you the certificate itself. So it's just a small snapshot, but you can actually click email certificate and send this to whoever it is that needs to verify it. So if you show up to site and your supervisor is like, I need to see your certificate, and you pull it up and they're like, your phone is too small, can you email it to me? Just put in their email address right here and you can share that really, really easily. Or you can download it and just download it to your device, and so you have it there. Both really great features. And it will show you, again, like all of the requirements, their policies, etc. But it's really just the certificates that will show you that snapshot. So now the worker ID is great, but how do you use it to check into your work site? Well, we've added this really great location access feature on this page as well. So clicking on this will allow you to either scan your external QR code or check into your location. So again, that QR code is great and huge for workers who may show up on site. They don't have Workhub on their phone, but they have worker ID and they're like, well, I need to access this location. So they can just hit scan external QR code and they can sign in easily. And the other option is to check in. So they can check in and it will show them their current location that they are assigned to, but you can always switch this to any other location that has an active screening. So it's really convenient if people are moving between office and site, or like in this case, like head office and shop or head office and yard, or, all three. So this just allows them to, follow the protocols at each workplace, because some workplaces or work sites might be higher contact than others. So the contact information is going to already be populated, but they can change the phone number just in case they want to put in their cell phone number instead of their office number, or whatever the case is. And then here, it's basically exactly the same screening form that we saw on the worker side previously. So, we can just go ahead, answer all the questions here, put in any comments, and, submit access screening. So once they've submitted the screening, what do you do with it? How do you as an admin track that or trace it? If we go back to Workhub and switch to our admin side, click on locations, select the location. We're going to click on the access history tab now. So this tab is actually going to show you all of the workers that have been granted access and denied access and how many of them per day. So the great part about this is that you know, you can see at a glance, you know, if more people are being granted access than denied, or vice versa, or kind of, you know, what's happening, how many visitors do you have on your site per day, how many people are attending, and filling out the questionnaire, you know, how many people are interacting with it. You know, this is a really easy way to see all of that information right away. But further down here, we have the visitor lookup. So the great thing about this is you can search by name or company, you know, to see like what's happening. You can hit search here. You know, you can even filter by date ranges, or you could say within the last like 14 days, for example, you know, because you know, if you've had people attending your worksite within the last 14 days, let's see who's been denied, because we want to see like who's not following. So there's quite a few filters here that you can use. You can also download this report in a PDF or CSV format, which is great, because that will allow you to export that data, and to see it. There's a couple other things here. It will show you their access, whether they were granted or denied, and you know when the screening was actually completed and when the person left site. So this is a good way to, you know, just see that overlap again. You know, if certain people were exposed at the same time as other people who may have been compromised were there. You know, so rather than notifying all of your workers, you may only need to notify a select few that kind of overlapped in that time frame. And, you know, this is where you'll see the reason that people were. So for example, Mary Brown, she's a supervisor. She was just a visitor from a different location coming to this location, and she was clearly visiting Mo for training. So that's why that comment is there. But the other great thing is if you click on info here, first of all, you will see the workers' contact information, and then you will also see their answers to their questions. So if you have a lot more questions here, you will see that too. So it just makes it very easy to track who is at your workplace, why they were there. You know, you would easily see if there were any FedEx drop-offs or anything like that there. So I think that is a good overview of this tool. Do you guys have any like questions for me? If you do, I'd really appreciate if you could put it in the Q&A section, but I will pull up my chat here as well, just to see what's going on. Any questions for me, guys? Please put it in the Q&A if you can. The behavior observation icon, there is actually another webinar on that on the YouTube link. We will ensure to put that out to you as well, but you can definitely find that on YouTube, or you can give us a chat or a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about it. Jennifer, I believe our development team is addressing the link currently. Kevin, yes, you can see multiple check-ins and check-outs for people, as well as that always option will definitely encourage people to complete the screening form every time that they check in and out. This webinar will definitely be available on YouTube later as well. It is being live streamed to YouTube as well, but it will be posted on YouTube. Oh, Victoria, I hope I answered your question by showing you the visitor history tab to show you what was happening. Roxana, PWA is, oh, I guess Stephen answered that. It's just a progressive web app. It works through your browser, but you can still use it as an app on your cell phone. There is quite a few chats in here. Any more questions, anybody? If not, definitely send us an email or a chat, support@workhub.com. You can also connect with any of us on LinkedIn. We'd be happy to talk to you and help you through any questions you may have. Edmund, yes, it will be on YouTube. Sherry, if you have any specific questions, I'd love to go over them with you. Definitely send us a chat or, give us a phone call, send us an email. We'd be happy to go through all of that. Okay, thank you everybody for joining. I hope you got some information out of this webinar that you can definitely take back to your team or use this tool, and hopefully it can support you in all of the things that you are doing at your workplace to encourage worker safety and to deal with COVID. I know it's been a crazy year, but hopefully I look forward to seeing all of you guys at the next webinar in December. It was definitely a pleasure. So have a great day, stay warm. Take care. Bye, everybody.